Hello everyone, welcome to Conversation with Nadia Themis here at Hellenic TV. And today we welcome to Royal Windsor Castle, the place of the royal wedding that just was the wedding of Meghan and Prince Harry just 2 weeks ago. And given today's guest is a knight, we thought that the Windsor Castle would be the perfect scenery to have the interview. And I'm delighted to welcome Sir Birkett, who was knighted by the Queen in 2013 for the services to further education of the Academy movement. So I have written down your achievements in order not to avoid any mistake, because you have done so many things, and I want to give to the people as much as I can more of you. So in 2007, Sir Pete, he made history becoming the UK's first further education academy sponsor, taking over 2 failing schools. Within 2 years, he had turned the schools around, and in 2013, they were named number 1 and number 3 best performing schools in the town. Also in 2013, the Further Education College that you were CEO of was named again number 1 in the UK for 16 till 18 years old with a 94% success. You like number 1, right? He had the federation through several outstanding inspections. The federation that he created has now been replicated and adapted across the UK and beyond, and is seen as a model of excellent practice. In 2013, his organization won the National Education Investor Bed School Operator Award. As CEO for GEMS, he was instrumental in the design of the now infamous $1 million Teacher Award, and I'm very happy to mention that it's amazing the timing, but Andrea Zafiragu, that I had the honor to interview, she won your award actually.
Good.
Yeah, we'll go through that later. In 2014, he set up his own education consultancy, and in 2016, founded Highgate Hill House Special Needs School in Devon. This is all very fascinating story, and we'd like to hear more, please. So let's start from the beginning. Tell me about your childhood, where you were born, how you came knighted. Please tell us everything.
Okay, firstly, thank you for the invitation. I'm delighted to be here and delighted to be interviewed by you. My background is I came from humble beginnings. I was born in a area of high disadvantage in a town called Scunthorpe, which is in North Lincolnshire in England. Mm-hmm. My father was a steel worker, a mechanic, a steel worker. He used to work as many hours as he could to earn as much money as he could for the family. Yeah. My mother was a housewife. She had 3 children by the age of 22, wow. So she had her hands full looking after all of us. I went to the local comprehensive school. It'd been a grammar school and it converted to a comprehensive school. Yeah. And whilst at school, my love was football and wanted to be a professional footballer. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But on leaving school, I rather than go to university, yes. At 16 I became an apprentice engineer, and so served a 5-year apprenticeship in fabrication, welding and engineering. Oh. At the conclusion of that, I went to Australia to further my skills and knowledge, and then after 2 years of being in Australia, I returned to the UK because my father was having a second heart operation, so I came back for that. But it was whilst I was in Australia that I learned that I had a passion for teaching, because I became involved with teaching apprentices. Okay. And so I came back to England and applied for Teacher Training College, made sure my file was okay, went to Teacher Training College, and then secured my first teaching position as a lecturer in engineering at Basingstoke College of Technology. I stayed there for 13 years, and I realised at that point that the further you progressed, yes. The more you could influence. So if I'm a teacher in a classroom, I'm teaching 25 young people, children, I can make a difference by being good, trying to be good at what I do. I realised the more I progressed, the more I could influence, because I was then controlling 5 teachers, 10 teachers, 20 teachers. So I decided to progress within further education. So
you wanted, sorry for interrupting, you wanted to influence people.
I wanted to influence teaching in classrooms.
Okay.
So I could be a good teacher in the classroom, and the way I could make sure everybody else was a good teacher would be encouraging them to be good teachers by helping them support them, training them, etc. So that's why I decided to progress. And so I moved from Basingstoke to Bristol, then to Berkshire, then to Sheffield, and then to Bedfordshire, where I became principal in Luton. It was my history to that point had always been about sort of trying to improve and influence within education and training. So I became a principal in 2005. In 2006, I approached the government at that time and said I wanted to take over 2 failing schools in the town. Their GCSE results were around 9%. They were at the bottom of the league table, both, and I wanted to take them on at the same time, both at the same time. So I had to convince Lord Adonis, who was the Education Secretary at the time.
It was a challenge for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I was the first, as you said, the further education principal to get the support of the then government to take over 2 schools and turn them into academies.
I'm sure it wasn't easy.
No, it was, but it was, innovating is never easy. But if it's right, you do it. And within the first year, we doubled the results. The second year, we tripled the results. And then we had a flatlining. And then when I left in 2013, as you said, the results in the academies were 69 and 78%, 5 HCs, including English and Maths, which took them from the bottom of the league table to the top. And the college was number 1 in the UK, a 94% success rate.
Wow. Where do your drive comes from?
I believe everybody should have a great education, regardless of their background, and go to a great school. Yeah. And we all remember the good and the bad teachers.
Yes,
and the
we
bad
do.
Teachers, and the good teachers are the ones that really can shape and influence your life. So my passion was to always be a great teacher, then encourage others to be great teachers, so we can really help people, reach their potential. That's where so my passion is about helping people.
And education is very important. Why do you think education is very important to influence people? We're creating human beings.
Education is really, really powerful. Education for me is the route from poverty, and education is important because it allows you to educate people, and that's the most powerful element of education. Being able to educate other people to educate other people. It's a bit like teaching someone to fish. Rather than giving them a fish, teaching them how to fish so they can catch more fish and feed more people. It's the same sort of thing. I would go back to my old school, my old comprehensive school in the still town of Scunthorpe, and I talked to the year 10s and year 11 about the importance of education. And my view is always that education is not the be-all and end-all. It's not the most important factor, but it's very important. And so education and qualifications are really important. So, for example, I left school, I said at 16, became an apprentice, and whilst I was an apprentice, I continued to go to college. That enabled me, that gave me the points to enable me to go to Australia. When I was in Australia, when I was working in Australia, I continued to go to the college. When I came back to the UK, the qualifications I got in Australia enabled me to go to teacher training college in the UK. Whilst at teacher training college in the UK, obviously I got a teaching qualification. Then I became a lecturer. I also then did a master's degree part-time whilst I was lecturing. That enabled me to apply for principal's positions. Then it enabled me to do other activities. So qualifications, education and qualifications are not the be-all and end-all. It's about being nice and it's about being courteous and respectful. So it's not just about those. But what they do is open doors. And then it's up to you. So that's how I explain.
And it doesn't matter your background from where you're coming from.
No, and that's where education is important. And you should never, ever stop. We all continuously learn, but you should never stop furthering your qualifications, because I made one mistake.
Wow.
I made several mistakes, but one mistake was that I was going to do a PhD.
Yes.
And I decided not to do a PhD because I'd reached master's level. I thought I'd done enough. If I wanted to be a vice chancellor now in a university, I need a PhD.
Oh.
So therefore, I can't apply, or I could apply, but I wouldn't secure a position in the UK as a vice chancellor in a university because I don't have a PhD.
It's never too late, right?
Pardon me?
It's never too late.
It's never too late. Correct.
So can you summarize how can we create a great school?
Well, I have a view that it's always about leadership. It's not just about schools and colleges. With any organisation, it's about leadership. But there's 5 things that I believe that, if applied properly, will create a great organisation. Okay. So in any organisation, you always need to have positive thinking. So you need to create positive thinking, a can-do, open, honest, team-working approach. So create positive thinking. Then identify, I call it the critical essentials. So that's about the right people in the right positions, doing the right things with the right support. And then identify your critical non-essentials. Okay. That's the bit that makes you special, more unique, more efficient, more effective, better than the competition. You're an innovator, you do things special, you make things better. So that's your USP. If you want. And then enjoyment. I believe working and learning should be fun. Yeah. A spring in the step always enables you to do things better. And finally, no compromise on standards. Enjoy a moment, but then raise the bar. Okay. And if you can apply those 5 principles, in my view, in any organisation in the world, you will be successful because it's about leadership and culture.
Yeah, and culture is very important. And what about vision?
Indeed.
It goes with positive thinking?
Well, the leadership is about creating the vision and the mission for the organisation, and then encouraging people to engage with that and everybody understanding their part within that so that together you can move to success.
And I think most countries, and I'm referring to my country, is that we lack of vision many times. So that's for another discussion, though. And for that, maybe we will invite you to Cyprus.
I would love to go to Cyprus.
So isn't it amazing that the fact that I told that before about Andrea, that she won the award. How that started, the foundation? Would you like to tell us?
Indeed. Well, it's a part of the Varkey Foundation. Yeah. And I was working at GEMS in 2013 and was asked the chairman came up with this concept of the Best Teacher Award because he's passionate about education training and passionate about teaching, and he believed that this would raise the profile of teachers across the world, and it certainly has. And he asked me to come up with some ideas to develop that, and so I played my part in the initial development of that award, and I'm proud of that. And it's now, I believe, in its 5th year. And I was absolutely delighted to see that on your programme you had Andrea that won that award for the UK, and that's excellent.
And everyone can apply to for the award?
Anyone.
Do they have prerequisites, I think, maybe? No?
What they do is, because it's a worldwide teaching award, countries nominate, countries have their own sort of, methods of identifying the best teacher, and then they put that teacher forward, and then it goes into the worldwide criteria. So each country puts forward their nominated teacher, and then a panel of experts decide on who the winner should be.
All right. And how did you feel when you were knighted by the Queen?
I mean, it was a very special moment. I mean, when you receive awards such as that. It's not something that happens overnight.
Yes, definitely.
It happens over a period of time. So I was involved, for example, my life has always been about turnaround. So if things are not working, I try and turn them around. So I skipped a lot of that work. So, for example, I went to the Royal Forest of Dean College that was in serious difficulties, and I went there as an interim principal and put together a recovery plan for that. But how did I feel? I mean, I was obviously humbled and honoured and grateful, but the award was not just about me, it's about the whole organisation. So it was an organisational sort of knighthood, really, so not just for me. But yes, it was amazing to be recognised in that way, and great for my parents, my family, because I come from a humble background, so they were really proud, Yeah,
it's good because you give the message that indeed it doesn't matter from where you come from, as long as you have vision and hard work, I guess. Huh?
Yeah.
Success doesn't come easy, right?
Morals and principles, hard work, and a vision, and sometimes taking risks,
Taking
but
risks.
for the right reasons. Yeah.
You like challenges, though.
I love a challenge. When people say can't do, I say can do. so people say when people say to me, you can't do that. I always say to them, look, I'm blood group B positive. Yes, we can.
Yeah, it's very familiar to me because I'm like that too. So has everything always gone based on plan?
No, it hasn't. We paint a lovely picture, but if you are trying to do something different, if you are trying to make a difference and improve people's lives, then you need to innovate, try different things, and inevitably, if you do something different, it's going to go wrong. So. But the important factor for me is you do things within your rules and your principles. You do things for the right reasons, and you learn and you grow. The important element is you can never wind back the clock, but what you can do is you learn and you grow. And if you learn and you grow, you're a better leader and a better person the next time around. I mean, and some great philosopher said that I've learned more from my mistakes than from my successes. And let your hindsight be your foresight. And I think they're very good words.
Yeah, that's very wise. Yeah, and I think that our mistakes are just guidelines for our future, the future or for tomorrow. Yeah. Would you like to send a message to the people that they are watching us?
My message is always believe, always do your best, live by your principles, and learn and grow, and do everything to reach your potential or your vision, and you will do that. Have self-belief, regardless of where you come from. You must believe. You must keep going. You must keep trying, and remember you're doing things for others, not just for yourself.
Thank you for what you have done so far, and I'm sure that there are many more to come, right?
I hope so, yes.
Yes, and how we create a great schools, because I believe too that education is very important. It's for everyone, should be for everyone. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Again, and thank you for watching us, and stay tuned with Conversation with Nadia Themis. Have a great day.
Thank you, bye.